Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
Happy Monday to you. Well, it's not so happy, let's be honest.
It's happy for me. We get a chance to talk, so it's happy for me.
Well, that's true. I'm just talking about that damn War Eagle, right? That damn War Eagle took out Michigan and took out Michigan State over the weekend, Shep. But other than that, yes, I'm happy to talk to my pal. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Good job down in Toledo. More misfortune there, too. I was hoping MSU would come out of that region. Instead, we'll root on Western Michigan, who were champions of the Fargo Regional, and now get the Denver Pioneers, who are really good in hockey and lacrosse. And I'm rooting for Pat Frischweiler and the rest of the Broncos. What a great story that is, man.
Unbelievable story. And you know what? It's kind of funny. It goes to show you, you had all these star-studded teams and so many of these teams with draft choices up and down the roster. And you know what? I hate to sound like a purist, but sometimes you just play the right way, blood and guts and grit, and man, you can take a nice long run, and it's fantastic to see, Shep. It really is.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, 2-1 and 2-1 and beating if you want to call it a blue blood, if you will, a team like BC gets bounced by Denver. Ryan Leonard, what was the 6th or 8th overall pick? He'll now head to Washington and probably be in the Capitals lineup sometime soon. Signed an NHL contract earlier today. And I just think, I hope this story is about Western Michigan's resolve and the opportunity to do something that school has really never had. I think I read an article the other day that they only had 2 national championships in any sport, and they were both in cross country. And for Pat Frischweiler to do it at his alma mater, where he went 3 years in the NCAA tournament and now to lead his team to its first ever Frozen Four, I'll be rooting like nobody's business to try and get them there, man. That's such a cool story.
Really a great story. Andy Murray started bringing some guys in. It had been a process, as you know, Shep. And I'm
Jeff Blashill first, though? Was it Jeff Blashill first? It might have been a little bit of Jeff Blashill, right? Danny.
You can give some love there, but no, honestly, Shep, it's a great. But I'm pulling for him hard. Go Broncos! I have no problem saying that. Go Broncos! I think it's a great story, and this is a situation, if we're being honest, Shep, where when you get to the Final Four, anything can happen. Okay, and we've seen. I remember the last championship Michigan State won in 2007. I don't give a crap what nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that.
I don't even think Rick Comley saw it coming.
No. So Shep, to me, it's a great story. Let's see what happens. But you know what? There are 3 other teams that feel the same way. And I'm going to tell you what, that damn Cole Hudson, I haven't seen a kid just dominate like that kid dominated down in Toledo. Since his brother, Lane Hudson. But no, honest to goodness, he's been phenomenal. So I have no other way to say that.
Yeah, I think it's just when we're looking at college basketball, everyone's talking about chalk, right? But it's really only the second time since they expanded to 64 teams. In hockey, even though Western Michigan's a 1 seed, I think some people are still trying to figure out who they are. And was it a great conference? They lead the nation in wins. They are second in the nation in scoring at just under 4 per game. Perhaps people shouldn't be too surprised by it. But there are people out there who just don't know who they are. Well, guess what? Now they will. And that's a beautiful thing. Yep,
that's exactly it. Couple, let's see, a bunch of comments already. Hold on just a second. Yo, boys. Hello, friends. Good evening, guys. Eric said, I got a torpedo bet. Oh, boy, those Yankees. Jeez, Pete. Henry up in the...
Can I just say one thing about the torpedo bet?
Yes.
And obviously... Major League Baseball, what is it, Rule 3.01, that you have to follow, Major League Baseball's got the idea whether or not it's legal or illegal. They're not the only team to do it. I mean, Baltimore has flirted with it. There are other players who have considered using it and tried it before. It's not just the Yankees. I'm not going to stick up for New York. Aaron Judge, who's got 4 homers already this year, isn't using it. But players like Jazz Chisholm, who's already got 3 and had 2 yesterday, and Cody Bellinger and the like, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, Sean? When you and I were kids, our aluminum bats were pretty much straight as an arrow, right?
Yep.
When my oldest son started playing travel ball, I noticed the bat had a longer, thinner handle, and then it kind of bowed out, just like these turbo bats, right? It's
Yep.
very, very strange to me that it's taken baseball, Major League Baseball, to really get involved in something like this. And I wonder how much of a theme this will be moving forward, number one. And number two, how many other teams may adopt this? Because I would
Heck
guess
yeah.
they would jump all over it. Yeah.
Heck yeah. No doubt about it. And Shep, you know what? Honestly, it was fun to watch. I don't care what anybody says. Chicks dig the long ball. That's
Yeah.
fun to watch. It
Yeah.
is. And, obviously, Aaron Judge is a special player if the guy can stay healthy and everything.
Mhm.
Let's see. Western Michigan is holding up the state of Michigan. No pressure, though. Yeah. College hockey games this weekend was outstanding. Eric, I'll get to your other comment in a second. Henry said, honestly, anybody but be you. I have all Final Four ones in the Final Four in my bracket. Penn State first ever trip to the Frozen Four. Bill Pye, anyone? That's a great one, Jason. I know that team like the back of my hand. I'll be honest with you. I think I was blacked out drunk with that entire team. I don't think I was blacked out drunk with that entire
So
team.
that surprises anybody, Sean.
I know I was blacked out drunk with that in multiple places, I might add. So Western reminds me of the 90s when Lake State used to go toe with the big boys. That was fun. Obviously, the 91 team was a lot of fun up at Northern. My buddy was on that team. So
I miss
that
those days, man. I miss the
fun. Yeah, it really, I agree with you. Eric said, Sean loved when Cornell played Hail to the Victors at the Sparty game. Shep, it was kind of funny. I have to admit.
I saw you tweet about that. Yeah, I mean,
it was about 15 seconds into the game, and I heard that wretched song, and I started going like this, like looking all around. And then, like, when it hit me what was going on, I was like, okay, that's good. I can't get mad over that. Exactly. At first it was like I'm saying, our mutual friend Jack Ebling, you hear the song and we're all going like this, going, they didn't get in the tournament. What's going on here? And then you're like, you see him in the corner and he's like, okay, all right. That's
good one.
Good. That's okay. And Cornell, I wouldn't have any idea who your rival is, so I can't.
Exactly. Not that you have one. Jack would have them all thrown out of the building, though. That's the difference.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No, it was a heck of a lot of fun. And Shep, college hockey's come a long way. It is. Even as I was sitting there, listen, here's the dirty little secret. You know this, okay?
What do you mean by a long way? What do you mean?
When I was a kid, none of these guys were going on to the NHL. Okay. It just wasn't happening.
Okay.
It wasn't happening. Yeah. This is where I don't want to say careers went to die, but maybe a guy goes signs in the AHL, maybe a guy goes signs in the IHL, but a vast majority of these guys were never ever going to see
Rod Brindamore was the exception.
Right. There, you had a few guys from the Olympic team, obviously, and a few more in 84. But boy, is college hockey come a long way. College hockey.
I agree with you 100% with that. I'm glad you said that. But that's the reason I wanted clarification is because it still has a long way to go. It doesn't get nearly enough attention. There's so many sports. I suppose it's really hard to pay attention to all of them. I'm super disappointed in the Big Ten Network. I'm super disappointed in the 4-letter networks, and I think there needs to be more of a push from athletic directors to get these games on television more. You just don't find them nearly enough. When Big Ten Network first took over and they made the conference and they dedicated that first full year with a pre and a post and really got into it then it quickly soured, right? I mean, they quickly went away from that. And I think that's a shame. And I think something needs to be done about that. When you're giving all the attention to football, men's and women's basketball, there's a problem. There's more room to go around during that time of year for some more college hockey, and they don't get nearly enough. But I blame the schools, I blame the athletic directors, and to a certain extent, I blame the coaches because they don't do enough to help promote it.
Can I blame one more person? And I'm going to make this crystal clear. These are Sean Baligian's comments and not Matt Shepard's comments.
You can't blame Bo Brisky. Don't do it.
No, I'll get to blaming Bo Brisky. Don't you worry about that. Stop it with this Buccigrass shit. Like, stop it. He's awful. Okay. Everybody knows it. They're my comments. Okay. Shep, I'm not throwing you under the bus for this. Every single person knows it. Drop the college hockey stuff. You don't know what you're talking about. You're awful. You shouldn't be in the booth. I'm sorry. I appreciate your passion. I know your passion. I respect your passion. Stop. Like, just drop it. Like, enough. It's bad. Nobody likes it.
Here's what's happened in our business in general. I mean, it's not too dissimilar from a guy like Dick Vitale. You know, Dick Vitale became an instant hero to kids on campus. So he goes there and kids hang out with him and they love him, and he's got a great personality and he's a lot of fun to be around and so on and so forth. And I've had the chance to talk to him a number of times, and there's energy there for sure. But you know, what certain people do is they latch onto one sport. They find that niche, that groove. They're in the groove. That sport that embraces them. The fans embrace them. The network embraces them. And suddenly they are the face and the voice of that sport. And there's nobody else stepping forward for it. At least he's bringing some type of recognition to it on social media and through the network. Look, you and I both know this. It's not just college hockey. It's the NHL. I want you to think about this for a minute. Linda Kuhn is the voice, for the most part, on their sports center of hockey, of the NHL. That's what that network has allowed, and that's what the NHL has accepted. So you can blame the individual. I choose to blame the league and the people who are associated with it for accepting it and just pawning it off like this is the way it is instead of trying to be a different.
I'm not blaming the individual at all. I'd scam and con everybody. Hell, I've scammed and conned people for 30 years in this business, Shep. So but as a hockey fan, why do they keep putting this guy on a pedestal? I don't get it. He doesn't understand the game. The game is clearly too fast for him. Anybody with half a brain in their head can hear that if you know the game of hockey at all. But yet, like I said, they put him on this pedestal. Take him off the pedestal. So now people went from hating roids to hating physics. Okay. Henry said, I hear stories up here all the time of the good teams Lake State had in the 90s and what Tech had in the 60s and 70s. And Coach Comley in Northern Michigan had a couple good teams, including
They sure did. And now even when he left and Walt Kyle took over, they had some pretty good teams then too.
Yep. Adam Oates from RPI. Shauner was blacked out, but remembers Bill Pye because he heard Pye, and here we are. That's true. Is BTN not airing hockey due to Title IX commitments to airing things like lacrosse or gymnastics? Sean, I think you and I have had that Buccigrass discussion before. It sounds familiar. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's the story.
Sean, what about the NHL? He calls NHL games too.
It's disgusting. Oh, I pointed that out to you last spring. It's gross. It's that Colorado game that he did, because Colorado plays with so much speed. It was honestly, he was about 5 seconds behind the entire game. It was kind of sad, to be honest with you, but whatever. All right. I got it off my chest though, Shep. I feel better about myself. Okay.
That's good.
I desperately hope your dog can't stand him either. I desperately hope a competitor arises to ESPN. They need it. Even their football coverage has gone downhill. NHL games are hard to find on TV in the USA, especially TNT. Tom, the greatest thing that I did, and you don't have to worry about it where you're at in London, but the greatest thing that I did is get the NHL Center Ice package. I get to watch all the games from all the affiliates. And Shep, we were talking about this last week on the hockey show. God bless the CBC, but their coverage has gone so downhill, and it's not just because of Don Cherry. I want to make that crystal clear. I just think their coverage has gone so downhill, and that was the gold standard for so long. It really, truly was. And I understand it's a different business. And you know what? I like a lot of the things that Bissonnette does. I do. I think a lot of it's just become too much of a bit, to be honest with you. But say what you will. I think TNT at least is trying to be something different.
Yes. I think I'm probably the wrong guy to talk to here, because when I watch pre and post and I watch games, I want to be educated more. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to be entertained. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I have talked about that. I don't need the cutesy phrases. I don't need the nicknames. I don't. You want to give me some stories that are associated with the teams and the individuals? I think that's great. I do, depending on the sport. But I don't need to be entertained all the time. I like to learn as much as the analyst and the play-by-play person know. And I think that enhances, my enjoyment of watching the broadcast. I think what it's become nowadays is it almost becoming an extension of TV talk show hosts, where they become, they hope, bigger than the athletes they cover themselves.
No, in this business,
It's hard to believe, but that's the
I
way it
don't.
seems.
Whoa, wait a second. Whoa, somebody trying to insert themselves in the story
I know
from the
that seems
media?
odd, doesn't it? It seems odd. It's only been, I think it's only been a trend over the last, 3 or 4 months.
Gross. I'm sorry. It's all-time high. And if I sound like a crotchety old man, well, gosh damn it, my hip just broke and now I'm pissed off. Let me talk about All About Catering for a second. All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com. Rick and his gang will take care of you. Check out their menus, all their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Shep, I don't have temper tantrums over sports anymore. It's been years. Like, seriously, I used to get really mad. I'm sure you did. Maturity will do this. The fact that I've been, all jokes aside, blessed to do what I've do for many years. I don't have temper tantrums over sports anymore. It's very rare that I even find myself getting disappointed over games anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because like this weekend is a perfect example. Michigan State hockey, I was disappointed on Thursday, okay? What happened to both Michigan and both Michigan State at the hands of Auburn, how do you get upset about that? They lost to what was clearly the better team. And I
Well,
don't, and I know what people are going to say about Michigan State. Well, if their shots fell and, blah, 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 blah. And if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. It's that type of stuff. It's like Auburn was the better team, man. Right? Well, if we went 21 of 21 from 3, yeah, I like your chances in that game, slugger. Like, right.
yeah. Look,
I
look,
thought Auburn was better. Okay, it happened.
you can only, right, but the best team, as you and I both know, the best team doesn't always win either. So that's number one.
No.
The
That's
thing
when
is,
I get pissed off. That's when I get pissed off.
okay, well, here's the thing about the Michigan State game. Well, first of all, when Michigan had the big lead, a 9-point lead, and you see that they can't hold it, and Auburn goes on that massive run, I suppose that creates some disappointment, okay? Because as you and I have always said for years now, your expectations change. Even within a game, your expectations change.
Yep.
The thing that bothered me about the state game is all year long I have defended MSU, and this is more of a personal thing, but I've defended them saying all everyone keeps focusing on is what they can't do, and that's shoot threes. And I've said they defend well, they rebound well, they defend in transition, they get out in transition. They do more things well than not. And what killed them is the one glaring problem that they've had all season long, and that's shooting threes. Okay. So, yes, did I expect Auburn to win? I picked Auburn. Just because I picked them to win doesn't mean I can't be disappointed, though, because
No,
I
that's
thought there
fair.
were some, yeah, I thought there were some opportunities there that Michigan State could have taken advantage of, and they didn't. When Jackson Kohler's your best player, with all due respect, when Jackson Kohler's your best player, it might be a bit of an issue for you moving forward. The other thing is, your starting backcourt or your co-captains in the first half were like 1 for 14. And you would hope that your leadership rises a little bit, and they just couldn't get it done. And it's just really too bad. I would ask you this. Did they underachieve or overachieve, either team or both teams?
I would say that Michigan overachieved this year. I mean that in all sincerity. And I would say that Michigan State probably was about where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I,
Did
I
you, so you thought, see, for me, I think both overachieved. I don't think there's no way you thought Michigan would do what they did a year ago,
never,
but
never in a million
I
years.
never expected them to lead the Big Ten at one point. And I sure didn't expect Michigan State to win this conference 3 games clear of anybody else.
Okay, so let me try to explain to you from where my vantage point was.
Okay.
This was a Michigan team that seemed lost like what 3 weeks ago, and then the Big Ten tournament happened, and then the run in the tournament happened. Michigan State kind of pulled away from everybody, and I got to be honest with you, for anybody who's watched these teams, you kind of sat back, and I did. I've seen this before. I've seen this is the Izzo team. All those things that so many of us have seen and heard before. So, but with that being said, I think if you were being objective, you saw a team that was flawed, and at best, in my mind, Shep, was maybe going to make it to the Final Four. Except when I saw Auburn there, and I didn't like their chances.
I'm with you. I think there's too many times we in life automatically associate a new Michigan State team with past heartbreak teams and say, well,
1,000%.
I've seen this before. You haven't seen it with this team.
I meant it in a positive way, though, Shep. And from my vantage point, I meant it in a positive way where you were sitting back and okay, I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, like the Paul Davis year, like, what the hell happened? How did this team end up in the Final Four? That's what I meant, more as a positive thing.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I get it. I try to take every team and look at it for what it's worth. My heart broke for Trey Holloman, because here's a guy who it was a massive struggle. I hate watching that kind of performance.
It hurts your soul. It really does. It hurts your soul.
I mean, whether you like the team or not, whether you like the school or not, when you see a kid, and I would hope people in the entire state would be rooting for him. But when you see a kid who wants it so badly, and they all do, I get that, but he kept pushing, man. He kept trying. He kept shooting, and that's oftentimes what they tell people to do. It just wasn't there for him, and it's a tough pill to swallow. And to see his emotion after the game was heart-wrenching for me.
Yep. So let me get this out here very quickly. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two handsome fellows right there. Two brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell a company, and maybe you're already in retirement, these two can and will help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 states. They must be doing something right. The investment world is a complex one. If you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. That's 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. They're two great guys. That's Mike Cusack and Jeff Husak. Austin, I love this. Shep, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts on the Pistons brawl. I'm not an NBA guy, but if the Pistons are out here fighting dudes and actually are a good team, I might check them out. I think this is a very intriguing team, Shep. I do.
I think it's a really fun team. I like it. I think we in Detroit love the whole look at it's Detroit. Okay, just read it across my chest. It's Detroit. We love the toughness angle because we gravitate toward Probert and Kosar and McCarty, and we gravitate toward Mahorn and Lambeer and Rodman, and then Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, and we think this is very similar. I love sticking up for teammates. I thought what Naz Reid did was a joke. Ron Holland got part of ball and got a little bit of the arm. wasn't chirping at him, and Naz Reid's got to go over and finger wave to him, and it's just stupid, right? It's
A
absolutely
19-year-old kid. Aren't you tough?
It's moronic. On the other hand, knowing that you're without your best player in Cade Cunningham, you're without another starter in Tobias Harris. Can you really afford to have three guys get in the fray, get ejected, and no doubt will miss more than one game in a crucial might be a little strong, but an important stretch, when not just because you got to go to OKC, that would be tough even if you had the full complement, but you're trying to catch Indiana for the number 4 seed, man. And what we're doing here is out of character and undisciplined.
Yeah.
So that is a take that I'm sure a lot of people shake their heads at and go, you know what? I'd rather have the tough guy attitude. Isaiah Stewart's proven he's been a tough guy all season long. Okay. I don't need you to show me that with Minnesota. You're up 9 with 8:36 to go in the second. What do? They blow you out in the third and win. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a game you wouldn't have won. Who knows? Although you beat Cleveland without Cade Cunningham. So prove me wrong. My problem is the undisciplined aspect of it. I thought it was a crappy call, but 3 guys in there throwing people into the front row to show that they're tough. Now those 3 guys get ejected. How long will they be gone? How much longer will you be without Cade Cunningham? And how much of a disadvantage did you just put your team at? I think you've got to weigh that a little bit more carefully, Sean.
Skydog said, now if we don't lose our minds over a defeat, we're not fans. Things I learned from sore losers. Yeah, I don't do it anymore. It just, you're disappointed, but like in terms of like losing my mind, I don't know that I guess I never, if 20-year-old Sean heard me say this, he'd throw a punch at me. Like, honestly, like I turn into Annie, Shep. The sun will come out tomorrow. Like, it's like, all right, I got to go sleep on this. I might have a couple shots of whiskey. Don't get me wrong, to help me get through that night, and I'll wait for the sun to come up. But I just don't lose my mind. Especially, I guess, it's the games that you thought you were going to win that you don't win. That's where I get really pissed off.
I don't think anyone expects you to sit in a rocking chair and move back and forth with every possession or every puck movement or every possible save that was not made or every drop pass. But it's okay to show some emotion and say, damn it, that's a game they should have won, right? Or, damn it, had you done this, things might have been different. I don't get totally wrapped up in it, but there are certain players and certain teams and certain moments. I mean, I was pretty upset last year when the Lions lost at home to Washington. I'm not throwing things through my television set. I'm not telling people to get the hell out of my house. I'm not kicking my dog or calling in sick the next day, but I can still be upset about it.
Shep, you know what the thing is? I brought this up to somebody today. You knew and I knew, okay? When you have that many injuries, it was a miracle that they got to where they got. It was a miracle that they did what they did to Minnesota. I'm not saying that I expected them to lose to Washington, because I didn't. I didn't. I just knew it was physically impossible for them to take that proverbial next step based on all the injuries that they had. So therefore, I guess I wasn't as devastated as I thought I would be. You know what? It was still the gut shot. It was still, I was so pissy that day after. I really was. That Sunday, I told you I was a big Google baby who didn't even watch football the next day. Honestly, I really and truly was. I was like, I'm not watching. But you knew, okay? I think we all knew when the injuries started to mount up, you cannot in the National Football League lose that many people and expect to go even make it to a Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not that quality. No, you can't lose that quality. I did think they'd beat Washington, but I thought it'd be really hard to beat Philadelphia. And then I watched LA challenge Philadelphia the way I did, and I thought, maybe, just maybe, if they can get by Washington, that wasn't going to happen.
No. Sean are going to fill the swear jar, which 100% goes to Kids Without Kodiak Wintergreen Foundation. That's true. My immediate overreaction to the Tigers, Torque for AL MVP, and what can we get for Colt Keith? More on the Tigers in a second. My buddy Teddy, the ice storm is crazy. Gaylord got hit hard. Did you see some of that stuff, Shep? Some of that video?
I did, yeah. I thought we were going to get harder last night, and we didn't with what was supposed to be 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah. Tournament has largely been a dud this year. Not that many close game buzzer beaters, upset. My wife, who simply picks the highest seeds every year, would have actually done pretty well in the bracket. Pretty chalk tournament.
But it's only the second time that all ones have reached the Final Four since they expanded to the field of 64. Remember, it was North Carolina, Memphis, Kansas, and UCLA. It was Russell Westbrook and players like that. And that was when Kansas beat Memphis. So that's a little surprising. But on the other hand, it's also, I believe, the fewest low seeds to ever advance throughout the tournament since they've expanded to 64. I thought that, look, there's been some buzzer beaters. I mean, that Houston-Purdue game was interesting. There's been some buzzer beaters. There hasn't been the upsets. And if you like the upsets, then you must like the college hockey tournament that we were talking about earlier, because that didn't go exactly as planned.
1,000%. Let's see. Stu is going to get the Draymond Green treatment for the rest of his career, whether he deserves it or not. He has that reputation. Ovi 5 goals away from getting Gretzky. Tom, it's unbelievable. I didn't think he'd get there.
You know what I forgot? He missed 16 games with a broken fibula, didn't he?
Yeah. And by the way, need I remind everybody, Todd, can you please pull up the picture? Because Mike and I have some fun with the picture. You have to show Shep the picture. There is nothing better than Fat Ovi.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. You showed it to me.
Look at that. That is magnificent.
You know what that is? That is
what that is.
Dude, that's him stuffing himself at one of your barbecue parties and then going to your backyard. That's what it is. And he's so full. He's so full. Here's what you did. You laid out a bunch of brisket and some ribs and some burnt ends and some sliced up sausages, maybe a few thinly sliced pieces of turkey, and said, "You've got 1 hour to eat it all, Ovi." And he chowed that down in 35 minutes flat. And then he said, "Give me volleyball." And he went in your backyard and he said, "Jack, I serve." And then he just went to town. That's all it is. That's exactly what it is. I don't know if that's by the script, but it's pretty close to it, Sean.
I love Ovi. And then you know what he did? What people don't know is then he went right down to Little Caesars Arena, played 17 minutes, had 10 shots, and scored 2 goals. That's like, he's now my favorite athlete. He doesn't know it. I'm going to have to write him a note. "Dear Alexander, I'm your biggest fan."
He's 39 years old. He's got 37 goals.
I love that. It's so good.
It's incredible. There's so much made, and I get it, of LeBron and what he's doing at 40. How about what Ovechkin's doing at 39 and coming off a broken leg?
It is absolutely. I'm not being funny. Shep, honestly, it is absolutely remarkable to me. I mean that. It's fantastic.
But you know what's going to happen at the end of the year? The athlete of the year. I mean, it's going to go to the guy who writes on the back of his sneakers, "I am king."
Yeah. Of course.
If they're not going to consider Alexander Ovechkin, they won't consider Nathan McKinnon. It's got to go to the guy who takes a big old thick Blackie marker and writes "I am," just the 2 letters, on one shoe, and the other one is KI on the left side of the sneaker, NG on the other. We'll glorify it though.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Isn't that nice of him? Hey, Shep, we got to get to the Tigers. Listen, it was the Dodgers. Okay, I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm just not. Okay, this team is absurd. It's got a $350 million payroll. They could win 110 games. I'm not going to lose my mind about getting swept. I'm just not. Okay. But
I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't care who it was. I'm not reading anything into 3 games out of 162.
No,
just to put it in perspective so people are aware. Last year, Pittsburgh beat Baltimore in a series. Yes. Mm-hmm. The Angels swept a playoff team in a series. I know that you may find that hard to believe, but that's true. Last year, the Marlins beat the Tigers and the Mets in a series. This is what happens, okay, in baseball when you play 162. I don't even care if they get swept in Seattle. I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm not going to say Spencer Torkelson's fixed. He looks good, but I can reserve judgment on that. I'm not going to say the bullpen's in shambles. I'm not going to say if Jackson Jobe craps the bed tonight that suddenly you got to send him down. Sean, I had somebody call in this morning on my radio show and say, enough of Reese Olson. I went, What are you talking about? Enough of Reese Olson. He's thrown last year. He threw 112 and 2/3 innings. Okay, have you seen enough of Reese Olson to say I'm moving on? And if that's the case, who do you want to take his place? Kenta Maeda out of the bullpen? Do you want to call up Ty Madden? Do you want to call up Matt Manning? Neither one who deserve to make this team out of spring. I mean, just hold on. It's 162 games. It's been one start for a lot of these guys. Now, you can be a little concerned about the injuries, right? Gleyber Torres is on the 10-day IL now, already without Veerling, already without Parker Meadows, already without Alex Cobb. Okay. I don't know how good they're going to be when they're completely healthy. I just know I'm not going to jump to conclusions after 3 games. No way.
I'm really always optimistic about a guy leaving 10 on base through 10 innings in the season. That's always something that jumps out to me. Colt Keith had 10 left on base in the first 10 innings of the season. You just sit back and the kid's struggling. Look, that kid has to make it. He does. He has to make it. And right now, Shep, I can be concerned about the overall progress of Colt Keith at this point in time because we haven't seen much that warrants that long-term commitment to him. It was a 6-year contract, and what was 628? Was that what it was? You can correct me if I'm wrong. So that's disconcerting. The Kenta Maeda stuff is just frustrating and makes me want to bang my head against the wall. I'm not going to lie. It's you can print every
I've seen
story.
You do that. I've seen you do that. It was a brick wall, unfortunately.
It's just and Shep, you and I talked about it. I feel sorry for some of these guys that have to come up with stories in spring training.
I know.
Because what are people going to feed them? Are they going to tell them, hey, dude, Kenta was a bust. We should have never signed this guy.
It's the second coming of Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Look, but here's the thing. Colt Keith betted what, 262 last year? He had 302 against lefties, something like that. I'm not totally concerned about him. Okay. Remember what happened last year at the beginning of the season? Parker Meadows' struggle went down to Toledo, came back up, played pretty damn well. I think Colt Keith is going to hit. As you know, I was not a huge fan of him moving to first base. I think this team, what's the biggest concern I had moving in to this season was the lack of power. So we can talk about the 4 for 22 with runners in scoring position. But here's the other thing you got to talk about. You were out homered 9-3. Okay.
Right.
You hit the Dodgers. You had more walks than the Dodgers, but you're out homered 9-3. And I don't want to get too caught up in home runs per se, but power is really important in today's baseball. Okay. I mean, you said it at the very beginning with the torpedo bats, right? Where are the home runs going to come from? That's why Spencer Torkelson is so vital to this team moving forward. People can hate on him all you want, and you could judge him based on last year instead of the year before and be very selective. But if you want this team to do well, he's got to be in the thick of it because that's where your home run power is coming from. Okay. Riley Green can get you 25. Gleyber Torres can get you 25. Kerry Carpenter doesn't play enough to get you 30 probably. The guy who can get you 30 is Spencer Torkelson. So you better be rooting for him and rooting for him hard because that's how your team's going to put up big runs.
Jerry said Colt Keith entering the same sophomore slump as Torque. Jim said, who's the greater all-time hot dog king, Krutov or Kessel? Krutov by a mile. When you had to hire people to watch this guy, hey, fellas, I go to bathroom. Krutov, you're not going to grab a hot dog, are you? Nyet. Krutov, go pee. And then you see him in the corner destroying hot dogs? You can't compete with that. You cannot compete with that, Shep.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll trust you on that, Sean.
Do you remember the tank, Vladimir Krutov, when he came over? Like so many Russian players, it's funny if you talk to some of those players back in the 80s and 90s, they went to grocery stores and saw things they didn't see. And Vladimir Krutov fell in love with hot dogs. Really, and he gained, since we're talking about Ovi becoming fat Ovi, Vladimir Krutov became fat Krutov, and it was because of hot dogs. And so could you imagine being his teammate and like the coach calls you over, Shepard, get over here. And you're thinking, oh shit, he's sending me down. Today's the day. Shep, I got a job for you. Do I have to go fight somebody, coach? Fight somebody. Keep an eye on Krutov at the airport. What for? Can't keep that goddamn guy away from the hot dog stand.
He likes Nathan's.
Like, really? That happened. Eric said, Shep, where can we listen to you on the radio?
Michigan Sports, MichiganSportsNetwork.com is where you can go. We also stream live on YouTube, X, and Facebook.
All right. Henry said, our buddy up in Bessemer, my power went out Friday night, Saturday morning. We couldn't get the generators working at our store, so I didn't have to
for a moment. Let me get this one. Henry says, yeah, my power went out Friday night and Saturday morning. We couldn't get the generators working at our store, so I didn't have to work. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you, Henry. There's Sean's back. Okay.
In lovely Bessemer. In lovely Bessemer. Is it really? Is it on my side?
It is a good picture of Sean. I will say this.
I think it's not on my touch.
Now he's going to slow motion.
Hi. What time, Shep? Are you 6 to 9 or 6 to 10?
This must be this.
It was Shep. I knew it. See? Aha. 6 to 9. It's 6 to 9. Hey, by the way, while we have a moment, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy Partner are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. That's right. They'll help you with everything. Full service, one-stop solution for all your needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money. I'm serious. I can speak to this. They help save us some money, and we got the right coverage, because chances are, if you haven't checked your policies, you're probably paying too much, and you could be underinsured. Enter our friends at Legacy Partners. Give them a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, your business insurance needs. They got you covered. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get help with your new quotes. There's Shep. I think Shep. Hi, Shep.
Yeah, I had you freezing up, and apparently I must have been freezing up. So
no, it's all right.
Super Rain Man when it comes to hockey and food. That's you, Sean, according to
Jason. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt about that. Jeez, Pete. 6 to 9, right, Shep? That's what time your morning show is.
Yeah, 6 to 9. So, are you overly concerned with anything besides Cole Keith that you noticed about the Tigers?
No,
I thought they had good at bats. I really did. I mean, I thought
let me put it in its proper context. I could not agree with you more. You can't be overly concerned about anything. I think you do have to be concerned about Colt Keith because of the investment that they made with him and for him. I think it's different than other guys. I think it's different than Parker Meadows. I think it's different than, they actually spent money on somebody. You know what I mean? Javi Baez, it is what it is. I mean, you know it. I know it. We all know it. Let's all move on with our day. It's not going to happen. I don't give a crap what people say about the hip and the new Javi and all that stuff. We all know it.
You're right. I don't think it's a new hobby. I think he's so stuck in his ways. I don't think you're going to be able to change a guy like that. I just don't. Okay. All you can do is that hope he runs into one and hope he learns throughout the season. The beauty of what Cole Keith has is you can always send him down. I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm not too worried about it. I wouldn't be worried about anybody going into a slump this early in the season. Let me ask you this. You think the Red Sox are super worried about Rafael Devers? He's 28 years old. He's got that massive deal with Boston. He was crying a little bit about when they signed Alex Bregman, saying it's his base. He's the third baseman, and he's one of the worst defensive third basemen in all of baseball. They switch him to the DH, and what does he do? In the first 3 games of the series, he strikes out 10 times. That's a new Major League Baseball record. And then you look at what he did Sunday. He struck out 2 more. He has struck out 12 times in 4 games. Do you think Boston's overly concerned? Probably not, but there's a longer track record with him. I'm just not too worried about Cole Keith right now.
No, I'm not. I don't like the left on base. That was a woulda, coulda, shoulda series. And listen, I was having some fun with Bo Brisky. I said he remembered that he is indeed Bo Brisky. Yeah. And that's why, it was like last year, I always made the joke, like when Carey Price, like he woke up one morning in 2021 and he fell out of bed and he banged his head. And he woke up and he thought it was 2014. And it was like, shh, nobody tell him. Nobody tell him. Let him think it's 2014 and he's got a good knee. And like all of a sudden he looked like prime Carey Price, and they went back to the final. And then he woke up and said, "Ah, shit, it's 2021," and it was over. And that like that's kind of the same mentality that I had with Bo Brisky. I mean, all jokes aside, Shep, he was phenomenal down the stretch. He was phenomenal every time he took the mound, and it just so happens his first time he took the mound, he struggled mightily. You know,
listen, Jason Foley was really good down the stretch, making 14 to 15 saves, right?
Right.
And he didn't even make the team this year coming out of camp. So that tells you something too.
Eric, I don't bet. You and I have had this conversation many times. And I'll tell you, do you know the number one reason I don't bet? Because no one ever pays. No one ever. I've made so many bets with listeners over the years and nobody ever paid. But by golly, if you lose it, you better pay. So I don't make bets. That's
I don't bet. And the reason is because all those casinos have big gold chandeliers and really shiny diamond things and really crystal balls type stuff. They know what they're doing. And I can't say that I always do. So I'm going to say I work too hard for my money.
The only time I do it, I don't have any of that stuff on my phone. I say it all the time. If I go to the sports book, I set aside X amount, and that's all I'm doing. Yep. That's it.
Yep. And that's exactly how I would do it.
Success with, and sometimes I don't. So, let's say Henry said the worst thing about the Tigers is trying to stay up for these damn West Coast games. I'm not going to lie. I like Shep. I'm in that unique position where I get to walk upstairs and I get to watch the Tigers out in Seattle with my kid. That's pretty cool. You know, I mean, really, like really, that's a pretty cool night. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Jack is going to be on with me tomorrow talking baseball. He's been bugging me. He was like, "Dad, can I do a baseball show with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it'd be about time that somebody else. Shep and you are the guys that know baseball. So yeah, you can carry my ass tomorrow night." So
that'd be great. Yeah, I'll have to tune in for that, buddy.
Yes. Let me tell you about Lindsay Broadwell before we get out of here. When it comes time to get yourself a new house, you're buying, you're selling, more often than not both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets in Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. And when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Just make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Oh, Henry, I'll be in Milwaukee tomorrow. Then the rest of the week, I'll be in New York. That's I'm taking my boy to Milwaukee August 16th, or April 16th. Really looking forward to it. Really
That's
looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Yeah, I want to hear that story. That's going to be great.
Anything else before we get out of here?
No, brother. Tell Jack we said hello and have a great week. Thanks for everybody tuning in as always. It's an honor for us.
Love it. It's a lot of fun. Todd, thanks you as always. Take care, you guys. I'm going to dip. See you. Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.